most mysterious signals sent from space. The most mysterious signal ever. For 72 seconds the universe spoke. And then, never again. Introduction 1040 sec. It was a quiet night in 1977. In the state of Ohio. The sky was calm. Radio telescopes were routinely listening to space. Nobody knew that one of the most mysterious moments in human history was about to happen. But that night, something changed. Chapter 1. The WOW. Signal 40 sec to 2:30 min. The Big Ear radio telescope belonging to Ohio State University was scanning the sky as it did every night. And suddenly, it captured something. This signal was not noise, not random. 72 seconds long. When astronomer Jerry Emin examined the signal, he took the printout in his hand and was shocked. Where did this come from? And from that moment on, the signal went down in history as the WOW signal. Chapter 2. Why was this signal so special? 2:32 4 o'clock min. This signal was very powerful, was on a very specific frequency. 1420 megahertz. The hydrogen line didn't match natural space events. Hydrogen, the most fundamental element of the universe. If a civilization wanted to send a message from space, it would need to choose a frequency that everyone would understand. And this frequency was exactly there. Chapter 3. SETI gets involved 4 o'clock to 5:30 minute. At this point, SETI comes into play. SETI, or the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Scientists searching for extraterrestrial intelligence to see if the signal could be captured again. The same region was scanned for months. Different telescopes were used. Data was collected for years. But never. The signal never came again. Chapter 4. Why didn't it repeat? 5:30 to 7 o'clock min. Scientists have theories. Was it a directional beam? Was it an unknown natural source? Or was it a brief transmission? But there's another theory. They sent the message. They were alive. They were transmitting. And they're gone. We were listening at that moment, but they're not speaking anymore. Conclusion. 72 seconds. Far too short for one of the longest silences in human history. But long enough for its meaning. Maybe it was a message. Maybe it was an error. Maybe we'll never know. The universe is silent, and we're still listening. Closing statement. No CTA cinematic. The question isn't whether we're alone in space. The question is whether we're ready to answer. Extended version 120,000 characters. Prologue. The night silence was broken. Close your eyes and imagine. August 15, 1977, State of Ohio. Approaching midnight. The sky is crystal clear. Millions of stars sparkling in the endless darkness. In Delaware, Ohio, slightly away from Ohio State University's campus, a giant radio telescope called Big Ear is quietly scanning the sky. A reflector the size of 2 football fields. Made of aluminum panels, a massive ear facing the heavens. The same routine every night, listening to radio waves from space, recording the hiss of stars, the rumble of galaxies, cosmic noise. Nobody's expecting anything special. Nobody knows this night will be different. But that night, at 10:16 p.m., something came from the depths of the universe, a signal. One of the most powerful, most mysterious, most unexplainable signals ever recorded in human history, and it lasted only 72 seconds. Then, nothing. Endless silence. This is the story of the wow signal. Perhaps the story of a coincidence. Perhaps an error. Perhaps the voice of another world. Chapter 1. Big Ear and the Silent Vigil. The Space Listeners. Late 1960s. The space age has begun. Humanity has set foot on the moon, but the biggest unanswered question remains: are we the only intelligent species in the universe? A group of astronomers and engineers from Ohio State University start a project to search for the answer to this question. SETI, search for extraterrestrial intelligence. But how do you search for aliens? The answer is simple: by listening. If there's a civilization somewhere out there in the galaxy with technology, they're probably emitting radio waves. Just like our radio stations, TV broadcasts, military radars. These signals spread into space, traveling through the galaxy at the speed of light. And maybe, just maybe, someone is listening to us, or we can listen to them. The construction of Big Ear. Construction of the Big Ear radio telescope began in 1963, becoming operational in 1965. Two giant aluminum reflectors, each 104 by 21 meters in fixed position, not moving. Thanks to Earth's rotation, it scans different sections of the sky. Every 24 hours, a strip of the entire sky passes through Big Ear's field of view. The system is automatic. The computer advanced technology by that era's standards, records incoming signals, analyzes them, prints them on paper. Every day, meters of computer printouts are produced. Numbers, letters, codes, mostly meaningless cosmic noise, routine work. Volunteer astronomers regularly examine these printouts, looking to see if there's anything interesting. Usually there isn't. Sometimes interference from satellites, sometimes radio signals from Earth's sources, sometimes just noise. Dr. Jerry Emmon, a young astronomer working at Ohio State University, a volunteer on the SETI project, every week, examining the printouts produced by Big Ear. On August 19th, he's examining data taken on August 15, 1977. Page after page, boring data. 1 south, 2 south, sometimes 3 south, the intensity of weak signals. Then, his eye catches something. 6 EQUJ5. 6 characters. But these aren't ordinary. They represent something. An extraordinarily powerful signal. The moment of shock, Emmon's heart races. He looks more closely at the printout. The signal intensity scale goes from 1 to 9, then switches to letters. A means 10, B means 11, and so on. U means 30. This is a signal 30 times above cosmic noise. And the sequence exactly matches the profile scientists have been expecting for extraterrestrial communication. Starts strong 6, quickly reaches peak EQ, U, gradually weakens J, 5. This is exactly consistent with a source entering and exiting the telescope's field of view due to Earth's rotation. Emmon takes his red pen and writes in large letters next to the signal. Wow. He even forgets the exclamation mark. Just, wow. And from that moment, this signal goes down in history as the wow signal. He even forgets the exclamation mark. Just, wow. And from that moment, this signal goes down in history as the wow signal. Initial checks. Emin immediately begins checks. Where was the telescope scanning the sky at that moment? Answer. In the direction of the Sagittarius constellation, a region near the center of our galaxy. What was the frequency? Answer. 1420 megahertz. And this is the detail that changes everything. 1420 megahertz is the natural frequency emitted by hydrogen atoms in the universe. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, a universal standard in chemistry and physics. In 1959, physicists Giuseppe Cocconi and Philip Morrison proposed this. If an extraterrestrial civilization wants to communicate with us, it would use a frequency everyone knows, the hydrogen line. And the wow signal was exactly on this frequency. Coincidence or a deliberate choice? Chapter 2. The Anatomy of the Signal. The Mystery of 72 Seconds. The wow signal lasted exactly 72 seconds. Why exactly 72 seconds? The answer lies in Big Ear's operating principle. The telescope is fixed. As Earth rotates, different sections of the sky pass through the telescope's field of view. Any source remains visible for 72 seconds as it passes through the telescope's beam width. So, if a source is detected for exactly 72 seconds, this shows that the source is at a fixed point in space, a star, a galaxy, or something else. If the signal were Earth-based satellite, airplane, radio station, it would be continuous or irregular. If it were an error, it would be a random duration. But exactly 72 seconds. This is the signature of a real cosmic source. Frequency precision. 1420.4556 MHz plus or minus 0.005 MHz. Such a narrow frequency band is unusual for natural astrophysical events. Pulsars, rotating neutron stars broadcast in wide frequency bands. Quasars, supermassive black holes at galaxy centers, produce chaotic broad-spectrum signals. Supernova remnants, gas clouds, star formation regions, all are broadband. But the wow signal was incredibly narrowband. This means one of two things. An unknown natural process, a strange astrophysical event that science hasn't discovered yet, or an artificial source. Someone deliberately chose this frequency and made a narrowband transmission. Power, the wow signal's power was 30 times above cosmic noise level. How powerful is that? Let's compare. If a civilization used our most powerful radio transmitters to send a signal from the distance of the Sagittarius constellation approximately 200 light-years, it would appear very, very weak in Big Ear. To produce the wow signal would require either an incredibly powerful transmitter megawatt level, focused on a giant antenna, or the signal was actually much closer, but it definitely wasn't within the solar system that was checked, or a natural but unknown source. Polarization. The wow signal had circular polarization. What does this mean? Electromagnetic waves, including radio waves, oscillate. The direction of this oscillation is called polarization. Natural cosmic sources generally show random polarization. But circular polarization? This is a format that could be deliberately chosen to prevent the signal from changing as it passes through space environments. Ideal for interstellar communication. Coincidence? Maybe, or a deliberate engineering choice. Chapter 3: Initial Reactions and the Search. Immon's report. Jerry Immon immediately informs the Big Ear team. Project Director Dr. John Krause and other scientists examine the data. Result: this is the most interesting SETI candidate ever recorded. But the scientific method demands certainty. One observation isn't enough. Repeatability is needed. Plans are immediately made. Scan the same region again. Initial scans. The next night, Big Ear is directed to the same section of sky. Result: nothing. The next night, nothing. For weeks, every night, the same region is listened to. Silence. Maybe the signal was brief. Maybe it was a one-time transmission. The search continues for a month. Nothing. Other telescopes. News spreads to the scientific community. Other radio telescopes also search. Arecibo, Observatory Puerto Rico, the world's largest radio telescope at the time. Hat Creek Observatory, California. Green Bank Telescope, West Virginia. All are directed to the same section of Sagittarius constellation. All listening to the 1420 MHz frequency. The search continues for years. In 1987, nothing. In 1989, nothing. In the 1990s, nothing. In the 2000s, nothing. The wow signal never repeated again. SETI's official position. The SETI Institute acknowledges the wow signal as one of the most intriguing candidates, but at the same time cautious. A single observation is not sufficient as evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. Science requires repeatable results. Dr. Frank Drake, creator of the Drake equation, one of SETI's pioneers, says, "The wow signal is fascinating, but it's not definitive proof by itself. It's either a magnificent natural event, a technical anomaly, or, yes, maybe the message we're waiting for. But we don't know." Dr. Jill Tarter, one of SETI's foremost scientists, the inspiration for the Dr. Ellie Arroway character in Carl Sagan's Contact novel, adds, "Science works with evidence, not wishes. The wow signal didn't repeat. That's why we can't reach a definitive conclusion." Chapter 4: Theories and Debates. Theory 1: A natural source. Some scientists propose the wow signal may have originated from a natural astrophysical event we don't understand, perhaps a quasar burst. But quasars produce broad-spectrum signals, not as narrowband as wow. A magnetar magnetic pulse, a type of neutron star, creates extreme magnetic fields. Maybe a rare event, a powerful pulse, narrow frequency. Possible but unproven. Hydrogen cloud collapse. Collapsing hydrogen clouds can emit radio waves. But such a powerful and narrowband event, very rare, perhaps impossible. Microlensing, gravitational lensing. Another star or black hole bending and amplifying light or radio waves from a more distant source. Maybe the wow Signal was the result of such a momentary magnification. Interesting theory but unproven. Problem: none of these theories can explain all characteristics of the WOW signal. Theory 2. Man-made interference. Maybe the signal was actually Earth-based. A satellite. Hundreds of satellites were already in orbit in 1977. Maybe one signal reflected to Big Ear. But checks can't match any satellite with the WOW signal's timing and location. Secret military communication. Maybe a classified military satellite or radar. Possible but no evidence. Amateur radio. Did a radio amateur accidentally broadcast on the telescope's frequency? Unlikely to 1420 MHz is a protected scientific frequency. Broadcasting is prohibited. Problem: Big Ear head filters designed to detect Earth-based signals. The WOW signal passed these. It had very low Doppler shift, meaning the source was nearly stationary relative to Earth. This is consistent with a distant cosmic source, not a moving source on Earth. Theory 3. Comet 266P, Christensen. In 2017, astronomer Antonio Paris proposed an interesting theory. On August 15, 1977, Comet 266P, Christensen, not yet discovered at that time, was passing exactly through the region where Big Ear detected the WOW signal. Comets carry large hydrogen clouds. As they approach the Sun, this hydrogen becomes ionized and can emit radio waves at the 1420 MHz frequency. Paris said, "The WOW signal came from a comet. Exciting. Mystery solved." No. Other scientists objected. Comets are generally very weak radio sources. It's very difficult for them to produce a signal as powerful as WOW. Comets' radio emissions are broad spectrum, not as narrowband as WOW. When Comet 266P was discovered in 2006, it was observed, no powerful radio emissions were detected. The theory is possible, but evidence is insufficient. The scientific community wasn't convinced. Theory 4. Extraterrestrial communication. And then, the most exciting theory, the WOW signal came from another world. A civilization sent us a message from the depths of the galaxy. Why did they use the hydrogen frequency? Because it's a universal hello. The frequency everyone knows. Why only 72 seconds? Perhaps a narrow beam transmission. A giant antenna focused the signal into a narrow beam. Earth passed through that beam only 72 seconds. A rotating beacon. Like lighthouses, the signal rotated, broadcasting in many directions. We only caught one rotation. A brief transmission, maybe energy conservation. Maybe the message ended. Maybe a malfunction. Why didn't it repeat? Maybe it was a one-time test. Maybe they waited for a response, but we didn't answer. Maybe that civilization no longer exists, even if it came from 200 light years away. The signal was sent 200 years ago. Maybe they've moved to different star systems, like making a galactic radio announcement. Or maybe they're still broadcasting, but we're looking at the wrong times. Fermi paradox and WOW. Italian physicist Enrico Fermi asked his famous question, Where is everybody? If there are billions of stars in the galaxy, and millions of these stars have habitable planets, then where are the aliens? Why haven't we heard from them? Is the WOW signal a partial answer to this question? Maybe messages are coming, but so rare, so brief, so hard to catch. Maybe there are hundreds of civilizations in the galaxy, all occasionally sending radio signals. But the vastness of the cosmos is so large, the timing so coincidental, that catching a signal is like winning the lottery. And we won the lottery in 1977, but we haven't won again. Chapter 5. The search continues. The end of Big Ear. A tragic irony, the telescope that caught the WOW signal no longer exists. In the 1990s, Ohio State University sold the land where Big Ear was located. The telescope was demolished. There's now a golf course in its place. The instrument that produced one of the most important SETI data in human history was destroyed for a golf course. Many scientists call this a tragedy. But the search hasn't ended. Modern SETI projects. Today, there are dozens of SETI projects inspired by the WOW signal. Breakthrough Listen. A project financed with $100 million by Russian billionaire Yuri Milner, using the world's most powerful telescope's green bank, parks, fast, scanning millions of stars in the galaxy. SETI at Home. Your home computer can analyze SETI data while in sleep mode. Millions of volunteer participants. Allen Telescope Array. An array of 350 small radio antennas, specifically designed for SETI. All these projects are dedicated to a single goal: catching the next WOW signal. Looking at Sagittarius again. In 2012, on the 35th anniversary of the WOW signal, the Arecibo telescope conducted a special mission. It sent a deliberate response message to the region where the WOW signal came from. Content: humanity's greetings. Basic mathematical concepts. DNA structure. Earth's location. The message departed at the speed of light. If there's someone there and the signal is 200 light-years away, our message will arrive in 2212. A response will reach us in 2412. Our great-grandchildren, single quotes as great-great-grandchildren, will receive the answer. But it was sent. Because there's hope. 2020 In 2020, Breakthrough Listen rescanned the WOW signals region with the most sensitive equipment to date. Result? Nothing. But scientists aren't giving up. Maybe the transmission is periodic. Maybe every 50 years. Maybe every 100 years. Or maybe never again. But we're listening just in case. Chapter 6. Philosophy in Human Nature. The Weight of Silence. The WOW signal did something paradoxical. It showed us that the universe can speak, but also reminded us how silent it is. 72 seconds of sound. 40 years of silence. Carl Sagan wrote in Cosmos. The universe awaits us, who will send the first message. But the WOW signal asks another question. What if the message has already been sent but we missed it? Think about it. Big Ear listened to each section of the sky for only 72 seconds in 24 hours. If a signal came during the 23 hours, 58 minutes, and 48 seconds we weren't listening, we'd never know. If signals are coming from another star system, but only once a week, for a few minutes, our chance of catching it is incredibly low. The galaxy is 100,000 light-years in diameter. It contains 400 billion stars. We're only listening to a handful. And for very limited time periods. Maybe the galaxy is full of conversations, but we're not listening carefully enough. Human nature and hope. The wow signal also reveals something about human nature, the power of hope. For 40 years, we've been searching for a signal that never came again. Why? Because 72 seconds changed everything. 72 seconds showed us that maybe we're not alone. Maybe out there, among the stars, there are other beings like us who are curious, searching, hoping. And this hope is enough to keep scientists at telescopes through the night, enough to justify millions of dollars in funding. Because if another wow signal comes once more, everything changes. The Great Silence. There's a term in the scientific community, the Great Silence, another expression of the Fermi paradox. When we opened our radio telescopes, we expected a landscape like this. And now we ask, are we alone? The wow signal didn't give a definitive answer to this question, but it gave us something. Hope. Hope that out there somewhere, there's another civilization, another world, other beings, looking at the sky like us and wondering. The poetry of science. Carl Sagan said, "Science is not just about accumulation of knowledge. It's also about wonder, curiosity, and humility. About approaching the universe's mysteries with respect." The wow signal is the poetic face of science. A radio telescope, a cold logical vis response paused because Claude reached its max length for a message. Hit continue to nudge Claude along. Continue.